Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English News from Djibouti channels. Let's begin with the main titles. Our headlines are on national issues, the great news of the return of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, to the country yesterday. On continental news, defenders of the planet do not share the optimism displayed by some of the hate of the countries. Welcome if you join us. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, returned yesterday early in the evening after a private visit to France. The head of the state was welcomed at the airport by a large delegation headed by the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdulkader Kamel Mohammed, and including a member of the government, the parliament, and the office of the President of the Republic. It is with great sadness and emotion that we announce the death of the late Hussein Barkhad Siraj, which happened this morning in Djibouti. Following his death, the President of the Republic sent a sincere condolence to the late Hussein Barkhad Siraj, a famous politician, and addressed his condolence to his family. But also the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, also paid a vibrant tribute to the late Hussein Barkhad and presented his condolence to all his family. The late Hussein Barkhad Siraj was a member of the government led by the late President Mr. Hassan Guled, and served as a Minister of Defense and Youth. Later, the late Hussein Barkhad Siraj was a member of the government led by the late President Hassan Guled, born in 1916 in Tajura, where he started his primary and secondary education before continuing his studies in France and Algeria. The deceased Hussein Barkhat Siraj started his career at the Ministry of Agriculture as a senior technician. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdullah, launched the third edition of Household Spring, which will start in the commune of Bulaus because of the high malaria frequency. In addition to the main executive of the Department of Health, the event took place in the presence of the UNDP representative, Mrs. Fatima Al Sheikh, and WHO representative, Mr. Reinhild van Werd. During his inspections, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble, inquired about the mobilization of human resources and materials that were made available to carry out this important operation of Hold Spring. The minister also encouraged all the actors involved in the action to take ownership of this new approach to vector control and ensure the full access of this far-reaching mosquito control operation. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, received yesterday the Ambassador of the United States in Djibouti, Mr. Jonathan Bratt. A meeting took place in the presence of the Secretary General of the MANFOB, Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, and the USAID representative in Djibouti, Mr. Lloyd Jackson. After welcoming the participant, the minister began by underlining the impeccable quality of the cooperations between the Minister of the National Education and the U.S. Embassy, which financed by many projects through the USAID. He cited in particular the project to strengthen reading in basic education named DIGRA, implemented by the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training with the support of USAID and the international organization, a project that is becoming to show quite satisfactory result. He included the Minister of Energy in charge of Natural Resources, Mr. Younis Ali Kedi, accompanied by the main official of his department, pay an inspections and evaluation visit to the 16 megawatt wind power project in Gubayt yesterday. He was welcomed early on the project site by the official of the constructor company Red Sea Power, namely Siemens. Kamiza, Minister Yunus Ali Gid and his delegation were able to listen the explanations from the engineer and technician on the progress of the project itself. During the meeting with the officials of construction company, the minister obtained the assurance and the firm commitment of the person in charge of the construction that the electricity produced in Djibouti comes entirely from fossil fuels. This new installation will reduce the cost of electricity and achieve energy independence while reducing the CO2 emission. In a short interview, the Minister of the Energy, Mr. Younis Ali Gedi, said that the first megawatts will be supplied to the national electricity grid. The wind power plant will almost double the country current installed electricity generation capacity. The electricity produced in Djibouti comes entirely from renewable fuels. This new installation will reduce the cost of electricity and achieve energy independence while reducing the amount of the CO2 emission in the country. The Minister of Labor in charge of formalizations and social protection, Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, received the new WHO representative in Djibouti, Dr. Rene. The meeting is part of the new representative's contact with the member of the government. During the meeting, the minister welcomed the WHO representative. During their meeting, the minister and the new W representative were able to discuss the various aspects of the partnership between the Minister of Labor and the organizations. The digital summit of Namur, which is currently taking place from 2 to 5 November, gathered about 150 people composed of minister, mayor, parliamentarians, and actors of the digital ecosystem of more than 20 francophone countries. Djibouti, like other countries, is taking part with a strong delegation led by the Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Qasim Haroun, and the delegation also include the Mayor of the city of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Awal Osman, the Honorable Deputy Mahmoud Mustafa Dahir, and many other delegations. In the framework of the best remains eradication program, the director of livestock and veterinary service, with the functional support of has launched a serological survey in October to detect the actual prevalence rate. The mission is composed of different specialists, namely epidemiologists, laboratorian, and veterinary doctor. The mission took place in the north of Tajura and Obakh and lasted from 30 to 3 November. More than 700 samples were taken in the two northern region and sent to the National Laboratory of Veterinary Diagnostic of Analysis of the diseases. On continental news, in COP26, planet activities do not share the optimism of some of the leaders. The optimism shown by the some is not shared by environmental advocates, accusing the world's leaders of making empty promises. Young people are set to take to the street in Glasgow on Friday to push government to take act at the end of the first week of the climate conference. Here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.